Hi and welcome to Birds with Bottle.
We've got a thing about wine.
And we want you to have a thing about wine too.
And this week we're doing something a bit different.
We are, because we thought that we'd like to show you Beaujolais, but it's a bit of unknown, so we thought we needed to give you a bit of an introduction.
So we've created a profile for Beaujolais rather along the lines of computer dating.
Yeah, because for years Beaujolais has been seen as rather unfashionable. It's sort of like your wine equivalent of an online dating geek.
Yeah, but we think this Beau deserves a bit of a chance, and we hope you're going to put it on your like list.
For our first Beaujolais, we have this Henri Fessy Brie. It's the 2011 vintage, and this one's available from Waitrose at $10.99, but you'll often find it on offer there. And it's got a lovely little moustache on the label, little sort of face with a moustache.
A sweet profile picture.
Yes, it is. Right.
Well, it's got a sort of cherry nose, as you'd expect.
Yeah, just about all Beaujolais smells of cherry, doesn't it?
Yeah, the colour matches my jacket, which is lovely.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Very well. It's got a bit of kind of life in it as well. Got a few bubbles there.
It's definitely fruity. It's like almost like cherry tunes without being sweet.
Yes, it is.
Cherry
It
flavoured
is,
things.
in a lovely way. Yeah.
Like cherry yogurts, that sort of bitter cherry thing.
Yeah, quite dry. Little tiny bit of raspberry maybe.
It's
red fruits. It's red fruits, isn't it? Which is classic for Beaujolais.
But it's a really mouth-watering, fresh, lovely taste.
Yeah.
It's almost like a sort of summer fruit squash without the sugar.
Yeah. And it's
Really
it's light without being
insipid.
Yeah.
Exactly. Gorgeous. So, Sandra, the profile for Beaujolais. In the About Me section, what would Beaujolais say? Age.
Often youthful, in fact most often youthful, and certainly never mature. Mind you, we've had a lot of men like that.
Nationality.
Most definitely French.
Stamping ground.
Well, south of Burgundy, sort of just north of Lyon maybe.
Background.
Gamay, through and through.
Colour.
Well, as we said, palish red. Paler than most other grape varieties, really, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Like Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
That sort of colour. And personality.
Well, fruity, most definitely fruity, and quite rarely woody, that's for sure.
Yeah. Our second Beaujolais is this Louis Jadot Combo Jacques Beaujolais Village 2011, which is $9.99 in Waitrose, Tesco and Nisa.
That name's a bit of a mouthful, really, isn't it?
It's a little bit of a mouthful.
Okay. Right. Louis Jadot are so reliable, aren't they?
Yeah.
Their wine's such a good producer. We know anything they make, really.
Yeah.
It's pretty safe bet, isn't it?
Yeah. This has got a little bit of something. Is it licorice? A little bit of something on the nose.
Well, you're still getting those red fruits, aren't you?
Yeah, you're definitely getting red fruit.
Actually, it's not quite as cherryish coming
No,
off
it's not
the
as
aroma,
sort of-
is it?
No. But an absolute, definite Beaujolais taste. But again, with that licorice, there is just this little,
Yeah. It adds a nice little nuance to this, doesn't it?
sort of like, not like blackcurrant, but blackcurrant and licorice sweets, that sort of part of the thing.
Yeah.
Very
still
nice.
lightish, still fresh.
Yeah,
Again, that nice pure fruit,
yeah,
lack of oak.
yeah.
Really nice wine.
I mean, we said it before, that it is a food wine. It is, and that's not meant to sound negative, that is a really positive thing.
Yeah.
A really refreshing, juicy mouthful to have with food. Now this is a Beaujolais Village, so in the pecking order, you have the Beaujolais Nouveau, which is the lowest of the low, and then Beaujolais AC, Beaujolais Village, and then the Beaujolais Cru, they're called, CRU, which are 10 sites that are meant to be better than the standard ones. But actually, this is a good producer, and so their Beaujolais Village is you know, nudging on the door of the Cru, I'd say.
Yeah, I think we're quite enjoying it here anyway, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. And Mel's taking another little sip.
It's lovely.
So,
in the would like to meet section, Beaujolais would say, we thought,
outdoor types for picnics, a lover of charcuterie, pâté, and some naughty little French cheeses.
So naughty little French cheeses?
Yeah. And we reckon that he gets pretty cheeky with any kind of summer dish, given the chance.
A bit cheeky then.
Yeah. That's Beaujolais.
Next up, we have the Society's Exhibition Morgon 2010, Côte du Py. And this is from the Wine Society at £8.95.
Now this should be a slightly more full of glass, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Than the
Darker, richer, more powerful.
than some of the other crews.
So Morgon is one of these 10 crew that we were talking about.
Again, it goes quite well with Mel's outfit.
Yes. I could call this my Beaujolais coat.
You could. No trouble with spillages then. Won't show up at all.
That is it is a more mineral, more savoury nose, isn't it? Not so overtly cherry-ish.
No. And I got in there straight on the palate, and you're getting the same there too, aren't you? There's definitely a mineral note. And you get a tiny little bit of saltiness coming out of it.
Yeah.
Quite savoury,
salty.
lovely.
Yeah. And if you find that Beaujolais is just a bit too fruity for you, then going for a Morgon, you do get just a bit more oomph.
Yes, yeah. So there is some differences there. Now,
so Beaujolais, back to Beaujolais and its profile.
can I just interrupt you before we get there? Because it's just hit me with white pepper.
Oh, and you like white pepper?
I love white pepper in a wine, and just at the end it's hit me in a really lovely way.
Oh, it's a lovely balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really
nice one.
A really nice mouthful.
Yeah.
Delicious. So, Beaujolais, on its profile, is going to list its achievements.
Yeah. Well, for a start, it got its Appellation Contrôlée regulation in 1936. And of course, as we said before, it's divided into these 10 cru, which are sort of superior, and some of them have very romantic names, like Fleury. You might know that one because that's popular and it's well around the place, isn't it? And Saint-Amour.
Yeah, Moulin à Vent.
It's Migné.
Yeah, they're nice little names.
Yes, they are. For our final Beaujolais, we have this Château de la Botière, Juliana 2008, and that's from Avery's at £10.99.
And we wanted to show you a Beaujolais that was a little bit older, because some of them do have the capacity to age a little bit. This is 5 years old.
And you can see it on the colour actually.
Yeah.
It's not as sort of cherry red as the other ones. It's got that sort of slightly more
burgundy smell.
Yeah. Not quite as good with Mel's jacket.
No. And the smell is definitely evolved. It's not fresh cherries, raspberries. It's sort of baked. It's evolved and developed. And
It is. Yeah. And not all the crus will age well, but there are a few that do, like this and the Morgon.
Very savoury. Very dry.
It is. It's like savoury raspberries with almost a little bit of pencil shaving.
Yeah.
Nicely pencil shaving.
But a completely different wine, isn't it? I mean, yes, it's pale and it's low in tannin and all that sort of thing, but it's
And it would be slightly different because it's a different cru, but it's also slightly different because it's got the age on it.
Yeah. I think it's worth trying. I think, you buy yourself a few bottles and just leave a few, because this is quite an interesting wine.
It is. It is. So, Mel, on Beaujolais' profile,
yes, we thought that we ought to have a new section that isn't usually on a computer dating.
it should be though. It
should be. And that is baggage.
which is always useful to know, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or bagage, because we're in France.
Yeah. Now for Beaujolais, it's got to be Beaujolais Nouveau, hasn't it? Which really is the black sheep of the Beaujolais family.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if you're young enough or old enough to remember Beaujolais Nouveau, but it was the youngest of young wines that was so painfully young it wasn't ready to drink. It was bottled in a hurry, and then they had this big da-da-da-da day when it was released, and then there were races across France.
People used to go in classic cars and stuff,
I
didn't
know,
they?
yeah. To get, the whole thing was, you know, to be released, you had to race across and you had to serve the very first Beaujolais Nouveau. Oh, God, it was dire stuff, wasn't it?
Well, I wasn't in the wine trade then, but I remember going to a journalist breakfast where they served this stuff, and it was just like sipping bananas and bubblegum out of a glass.
Yeah, a totally false aroma, wasn't it?
Really quite
Really quite nasty.
Well, we think that's all in the past,
Yes,
don't
we
we?
certainly do.
Because the truth is, on our profile, Beaujolais is good with food.
Yeah.
Great with food. And it's lighter than your average red, so good for summer.
Yeah. And really, the wines are worth taking seriously. That's the point, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
So give them a go.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.